Hello, everyone. Today I want to talk about something important. We will talk about how to train your mouth to talk in English. Chapter 1. Wake up your mouth. Many people understand English very well. They can read books. They can watch videos. They can even understand conversations. But when it is time to speak, something strange happens. The mind knows the words, but the mouth does not speak. The mouth feels slow, shy, or even frozen. If you feel this way, you are not alone. Many English learners have the same problem. They know many words, but their mouth is not used to saying them. Speaking English is not only about knowing words, it is also about training your mouth. Your mouth is like a muscle. Just like your body needs exercise, your mouth also needs exercise. If you do not use it, it becomes slow. But if you practice every day, it becomes stronger and faster. Let me tell you a small story. When I first started learning English, I could understand many things. I could read simple stories. I could watch cartoons and understand some parts. But when I tried to speak, my mouth felt heavy. The words stayed inside my head. One day, I decided to try something simple. I started reading out loud. Every day, I took a short paragraph and read it slowly. At first, it felt strange. My pronunciation was not perfect. Sometimes, I stopped in the middle of a sentence, but I did not stop practicing. I read every day. After a few weeks, something amazing happened. My mouth became more comfortable. The words started coming out more easily. That is when I understood something important. Speaking English is physical practice. Now, let's talk about a very simple method. It is called speaking out loud. Many learners only read in their heads. They see the words, but they do not say them. This does not train the mouth. To train your mouth, you must speak the words. When you read a sentence, say it clearly. Move your lips. Use your voice. Even if you are alone, speak out loud. Your mouth will learn the movements. Your tongue will learn the sounds. Slowly. Speaking will become easier. Another good exercise is repeating sentences. Listen to a short English sentence and repeat it. Try to copy the sound. Try to copy the rhythm. Do not worry if it is not perfect. The goal is to train your mouth to move naturally. I remember when I started repeating sentences from videos. At first, I had to pause the video many times. I listened carefully and then repeated the sentence. Sometimes I repeated the same sentence 5 or 6 times. It felt slow, but it worked. After some time, my mouth became faster. The sounds became clearer. Repeating helped my mouth learn how English really sounds. Another helpful idea is to talk to yourself. This might sound funny, but it is very powerful. When you talk to yourself in English, you give your mouth real practice. You can start with simple sentences. For example, you can say, "I am drinking tea." Or you can say, "Today is a busy day." These small sentences help your mouth get used to speaking. Sometimes I describe things around me. I looked at the sky and said, "The sky is blue today." I looked at a book and said, "This book is interesting." It was simple, but it helped my mouth speak more naturally. Another great exercise is mirror practice. Stand in front of a mirror and speak English. Look at your mouth as you speak. This helps you see how your lips move. When I tried this for the first time, it felt a little strange. But after a few days, I started enjoying it. I spoke about my day. I talked about my plans. I even told small stories to the mirror. Mirror practice builds confidence. When you see yourself speaking, your brain becomes more comfortable. Slowly, your fear disappears. It is also important to speak slowly at the beginning. Many learners try to speak too fast. When you rush, your mouth becomes confused. Instead, speak slowly and clearly. Clear speaking is better than fast speaking. When you speak slowly, your mouth learns the correct sounds. Later, speed will come naturally. Another useful trick is to practice daily phrases. English conversations often use simple phrases like, "How are you?" or "What are you doing?" When you practice these phrases many times, your mouth remembers them easily. Think about how children learn language. They repeat the same words again and again. Slowly, their mouth becomes familiar with the sounds. You can learn in the same way.
Training your mouth takes time. It does not happen in one day. But if you practice a little every day, you will see progress. One day you will notice something interesting. You will start speaking without thinking too much. The words will come out more naturally. Your mouth will feel relaxed instead of nervous. Remember, speaking English is not only a mental skill, it is also a physical skill. Your mouth, your tongue, and your lips all work together. So train your mouth every day. Speak out loud. Repeat sentences. Talk to yourself. Practice in front of a mirror. These small exercises will slowly build your speaking ability. In the next chapter, we will talk about another powerful idea: how daily speaking habits can transform your English speaking ability step by step. Chapter 2. Build a daily speaking habit. Many learners practice English only sometimes. They study one day and then stop for several days. After that, they start again. This makes learning very slow. Speaking is a skill, and skills grow with daily practice. Think about someone who wants to learn to play the guitar. If they practice once a week, it will take a long time to improve. But if they practice every day, even for a short time, they become better much faster. Speaking English works in the same way. You do not need to practice for many hours. Even 10 or 15 minutes of speaking every day can make a big difference. Let me tell you something that helped me a lot when I was learning. I created a small daily routine. Every morning I spoke English for a few minutes. It became part of my day, just like brushing my teeth. At first, my routine was very simple. I woke up and spoke a few sentences about my plans for the day. I said things like, "Today I will work hard," or "Today I will read a new story." These small sentences trained my mouth to start speaking. After some time, I added more practice. I started describing my day in English. In the evening, I talked about what happened during the day. I said things like, "Today I met my friend," or "Today I watched an interesting video." These small habits slowly changed my speaking ability. My mouth became more active. Speaking English started to feel normal. Another great habit is shadow speaking. This is a simple but powerful exercise. When you watch a video or listen to a speaker, try to repeat what they say almost at the same time. It is called shadow speaking because your voice follows the speaker like a shadow. You listen and repeat quickly. This helps your mouth learn the natural rhythm of English. When I first tried shadow speaking, it was difficult. The speaker talked fast and I could not repeat everything, but I did not give up. I started with short and slow videos. Little by little, my mouth became faster. My pronunciation improved. Shadow speaking helped me speak more naturally. Another daily habit is reading out loud. Many learners read silently, but reading silently does not train the mouth. When you read out loud, your mouth practices every word. You can start with simple stories or short articles. Do not worry if you make mistakes. The goal is to move your mouth and produce English sounds. I remember reading a short story about a traveler. The story was simple, but I read it many times. Each time my speaking became a little smoother. Reading out loud also improves pronunciation. When you say the words clearly, your mouth learns how English sounds work together. Another helpful habit is asking yourself questions in English. For example, you can ask, "What did I learn today?" Then answer the question in English. You can also ask simple questions like, "What am I doing now?" or "What will I do tomorrow?" These small conversations with yourself help your mouth stay active. Sometimes I pretended I was answering interview questions. I asked myself things like, "Why do you want to learn English?" Then I answered with simple sentences. This exercise was very powerful because it trained me to think and speak at the same time. Another important idea is consistency. Consistency means doing something regularly without stopping. Even a small practice every day is better than a long practice once a week. Many learners wait for the perfect time to practice. They say, "I will start tomorrow," or "I will practice when I have more time." But the truth is that the best time is today. You can practice while walking. You can practice while cooking. You can even practice while sitting alone in your room. The important thing is to move your mouth and speak English. There is another simple trick that can help you. Set a small speaking challenge for yourself every day. For example, you can decide to speak English for 10 minutes daily. You can also challenge yourself to describe 5 things around you. Maybe you describe a chair, a window, a book, a phone, and the weather. These small challenges make practice more interesting. They also give your mouth more opportunities to speak. I remember giving myself a small challenge every day. One day I described my room. Another day I described my favorite food. Another day I talked about my favorite movie. These simple topics helped me speak more and more. Another powerful habit is recording your voice. When you record yourself speaking, you can listen later and notice your pronunciation. At first, it might feel strange to hear your own voice, but it is a very helpful exercise. You will hear your mistakes, and you will also hear your improvement. I used to record myself once a week. When I listened to the older recordings, I could hear the difference. My voice became clearer and more confident. This gave me motivation to continue practicing. Daily speaking habits slowly change your brain and your mouth. At first, speaking feels difficult, but after many days of practice, it becomes easier and more natural. One day you will notice that you are speaking without fear. Your mouth will move automatically, and your sentences will become smoother. Remember, the secret is not talent. The secret is daily practice. Speak a little every day. Build a small routine. Repeat sentences. Read out loud. Talk to yourself. Record your voice. These habits will slowly train your mouth to speak English with confidence. In the next chapter, we will talk about another powerful method: how listening can train your mouth to speak better and faster. Chapter 3. Train your mouth by listening. Now we will talk about another powerful method. We will talk about how listening can train your mouth to speak better. Many people think listening is only for understanding. They believe listening helps the brain learn words. This is true, but listening also trains your mouth. When you listen carefully, your brain hears the rhythm of English. You hear how people pronounce words. You hear how sentences flow. Your brain remembers these sounds, and slowly your mouth learns to copy them. Think about how children learn to speak. Babies listen to language for many months before they start talking. They hear the sounds again and again. Their brain learns the patterns. Then one day, they begin to speak. English learners can use the same method. Listening every day helps your mouth learn the natural sound of English. Hey, let me tell you something that helped me when I was learning. I started listening to short English stories every day. At first, I did not understand every word, but I listened carefully to the sounds. I noticed how the speaker connected words together. I noticed how some words were spoken strongly and others softly. These small details slowly became clear to me. After listening many times, I tried repeating the sentences. Something amazing happened. My mouth started copying the sounds I had heard many times. Listening prepared my mouth to speak. One great exercise is called listen and repeat. First, listen to a short sentence. Then pause the audio and repeat the sentence out loud. Try to copy the speaker's pronunciation and rhythm. For example, if the speaker says, "Today is a beautiful day," you repeat the same sentence. Try to say it the same way. This exercise trains your mouth to move like a native speaker's mouth. At first, you might need to repeat the sentence several times. That is completely normal. Every repetition helps your mouth learn the sound pattern. Another helpful exercise is listening to slow English. Slow English is easier for learners because the words are clearer. When speech is too fast, beginners may feel confused. Slow speech gives your mouth time to understand the sound of each word. As you become more comfortable, you can slowly listen to faster English. When I first started listening practice, I chose simple videos. I listened to short conversations and short stories. I listened to them many times. Sometimes I listened to the same story 5 or 6 times. Each time I understood a little more. Each time my mouth became more familiar with the sounds. Repetition is very important when you train your mouth. Hearing the same sentences again and again helps your brain remember them. When the brain remembers the sounds, the mouth can produce them more easily. Another great way to learn from listening is to copy the speaker's emotions. English speakers change their voice when they speak. Sometimes they sound excited. Sometimes they sound serious. When you repeat sentences, try to copy these emotions. This will make your speech sound more natural. I remember practicing with a short story about a traveler. When the traveler was excited, the speaker's voice became energetic. When the traveler was tired, the voice became softer. I tried to copy these voice changes. It was fun, and it also improved my speaking. Songs can also help train your mouth. Singing English songs is a fun way to practice pronunciation. Songs repeat words many times, which helps you remember them. When you sing along with a song, your mouth follows the rhythm. You practice English sounds without feeling like you are studying. I used to listen to simple English songs. I sang along even when my pronunciation was not perfect. Over time, my mouth became more comfortable with English sounds. Another useful listening practice is watching English videos with subtitles. Subtitles help you see the words while you hear them. This makes it easier to understand the connection between sound and spelling. First, watch the video with subtitles. Listen carefully and read the words. Then watch the video again and try repeating some sentences. This combination of listening and speaking is very powerful. Listening also helps you learn natural expressions. Many English phrases are used often in daily conversation. When you hear them many times, they become easy to remember. For example, you might hear phrases like, "That sounds great," or "I see what you mean." When you listen to these phrases often, your mouth begins to remember them automatically. Then one day, when you are speaking, these phrases will come out naturally. Another important idea is to listen every day. Even a few minutes of listening can help. You can listen while walking, cooking, or relaxing. The more your ears hear English, the more your mouth becomes comfortable with the sounds. Remember, listening and speaking work together like a team. Listening teaches your brain the sounds. Speaking trains your mouth to produce them. If you combine listening with daily speaking practice, your progress will become faster. One day you will notice something exciting. You will hear a sentence and repeat it easily. Your mouth will move more naturally and your pronunciation will improve. This is the power of listening practice. So make listening a daily habit. Listen to stories, listen to conversations, listen to songs, then repeat what you hear. These simple steps will slowly train your mouth to speak English more clearly and confidently. In the next chapter, we will explore another important idea. We will talk about how confidence plays a big role in training your mouth to speak English freely. Chapter 4. Build confidence in your voice. Now we will talk about another very important part of speaking English. We will talk about confidence. Many people know English, but they feel afraid to speak. Their mouth becomes quiet because their mind is full of fear. They worry about making mistakes. They worry that people will laugh at them. This fear stops the mouth from moving. Even if the words are in your mind, they stay there because confidence is missing. But here is an important truth. Confidence does not come before practice. Confidence comes from practice. Let me tell you something from my own experience. When I first tried to speak English, my voice was very quiet. I spoke slowly and sometimes stopped in the middle of a sentence. I was afraid of making mistakes. Sometimes I knew the right word, but I still did not say it. My mind was asking too many questions. Is this correct? Will people understand me? These thoughts made speaking difficult. Then one day, I realized something simple. Every person who speaks English today once made many mistakes. Nobody starts perfectly. Mistakes are part of learning. They are not your enemy. They are your teachers. When I accepted this idea, my fear became smaller. I started speaking more freely. I allowed myself to make mistakes, and slowly my confidence began to grow. One powerful way to build confidence is to speak in a safe environment. This means practicing where you feel comfortable. For example, you can speak when you are alone in your room. You can speak while walking outside. You can even speak quietly to yourself. When you practice in a comfortable place, your mind becomes relaxed. Your mouth feels free to move. I used to practice speaking when I was alone. I described things around me. I talked about my plans and my thoughts. No one was there to judge me, so I felt relaxed. Another great way to build confidence is mirror practice. Stand in front of a mirror and speak English. Look at yourself while you speak. At first, this may feel strange, but it is very powerful. When you see yourself speaking, your brain starts to believe that you are a speaker of English. I remember the first time I tried this. I looked at myself and said, "Hello, today I will practice my English." It was simple, but it made me feel stronger. Each day I spoke a little longer. I talked about my day. I talked about things I liked. Slowly, my voice became stronger. Another helpful exercise is recording your voice. When you record yourself speaking, you can listen to your voice later. At first, hearing your own voice might feel uncomfortable. Many people feel surprised when they hear themselves. But this exercise helps you improve. When you listen to your recording, you notice your pronunciation. You hear your mistakes, but you also hear your improvement. I used to record short talks about simple topics. Sometimes I talked about my favorite food. Other times, I talked about my hobbies. When I listened to older recordings, I could hear my progress. My pronunciation became clearer. My voice became more confident. This made me feel proud and motivated to continue. Another way to build confidence is to start with simple sentences. Many learners try to say complicated sentences too soon. This makes speaking stressful. Instead, start with short and simple sentences. For example, say things like, "I like reading," or "Today is a busy day." These small sentences are powerful because they help your mouth move naturally. As your confidence grows, your sentences will become longer. Another helpful idea is positive thinking. Your thoughts affect your speaking ability. If you keep thinking, "My English is bad," your mouth will feel nervous. But if you say to yourself, "I am learning," or "I am improving every day," your mind becomes stronger. When I was learning English, I started telling myself something simple every morning. I said, "I can speak English. I am improving every day." This positive message gave me energy. Confidence grows slowly, just like a plant. You must take care of it every day. Speak a little every day. Accept your mistakes. Celebrate your small improvements. Each small success builds your confidence. Another important thing is not to compare yourself with others. Some people learn faster. Some people learn slower. That is normal. Your journey is your own. Focus on your progress, not someone else's progress. I remember meeting people who spoke English very well. At first I felt nervous, but then I realized they had practiced for many years. Their success did not mean I was failing. It simply meant that I was still on my journey. Confidence grows when you keep moving forward. One day you will notice something amazing. You will speak without fear. Your voice will sound stronger. Your mouth will move more naturally. People will understand you, and you will feel proud of your progress. Remember, confidence is not something you wait for. Confidence is something you build with practice. So keep speaking, keep practicing, keep believing in yourself. In the next chapter, we will talk about another powerful technique. We will learn how practicing with real conversations can train your mouth to speak faster and more naturally. Chapter 5. Practice with real conversations. Speaking alone is very helpful. Talking to yourself, reading out loud, and practicing in front of a mirror all train your mouth. But real conversations give your mouth a new kind of training. In a real conversation, you must listen and respond quickly. Your brain and mouth work together at the same time. This helps you become a more natural speaker. Many learners feel nervous about conversations. They worry that they will not understand the other person. They worry that they will not find the right words. But remember, every conversation is practice. You do not need perfect English to start talking with someone. Let me tell you about something that helped me a lot. When I was learning English, I started having small conversations with friends. At first, the conversations were very simple. We talked about daily things like food, weather, or school. Sometimes our sentences were short. Sometimes we made mistakes. But every conversation helped my mouth become faster and more comfortable. Real conversations teach you something very important. They teach you how to respond naturally. For example, if someone asks, "How was your day?" you learn to answer quickly. You might say, "My day was good," or "It was a busy day." These small responses train your mouth to react quickly without too much thinking. Another good way to practice conversation is through role-playing. Role-playing means pretending to be in a situation. For example, you can pretend you are in a restaurant. One person acts as the customer, and another person acts as the waiter. The customer might say, "I would like a cup of tea." The waiter might reply, "Of course. Anything else?" This kind of practice prepares your mouth for real situations. It also makes learning fun and interesting. When I practiced role-playing with my friends, we laughed a lot. Sometimes we pretended to be travelers. Sometimes we acted like shopkeepers. Even though it was simple practice, it helped our speaking skills grow. Another powerful method is asking questions during conversations. Questions keep the conversation moving. For example, if someone says they like movies, you can ask, "What kind of movies do you like?" Or, "What is your favorite movie?" These questions give your mouth more chances to speak. I remember having a conversation with a friend about hobbies. He said he liked playing football. I asked him questions about his favorite team and his favorite player. The conversation became longer and more interesting. My mouth stayed active, and I learned new words at the same time. Another helpful idea is listening carefully during conversations. Good speaking also requires good listening. When you listen carefully, you understand the other person better. This helps you give a better response. Listening also teaches you new expressions. Sometimes people use phrases that you have never heard before. When you hear them in conversation, you learn how they are used naturally. Over time, these phrases become part of your own speaking. Another important thing to remember is that conversations do not need to be perfect. Many learners stop speaking because they are worried about grammar. But communication is more important than perfection. If the other person understands your idea, the conversation is successful. Mistakes are normal in conversations. Even native speakers sometimes make mistakes. The important thing is to keep speaking. When I first started conversations in English, I made many mistakes. Sometimes I used the wrong word. Sometimes my sentence order was not correct. But I kept talking. My friends understood me, and slowly my speaking improved. Another helpful idea is practicing short daily conversations. You do not need long discussions. Even a 5-minute conversation can help. You can talk about simple topics like your plans, your favorite food, or your favorite music. These small conversations slowly build your speaking ability. Technology can also help you practice conversations. Many people practice speaking through online platforms or language exchange partners. You can find people who also want to practice English. You help each other by having short conversations. This kind of practice is very useful because it gives you real speaking experience. Another good exercise is repeating conversations you hear in videos. Watch a short dialogue between two people. Then try acting out the conversation yourself. You can even play both roles. First, say one person's sentence, then answer with the other person's sentence. This exercise trains your mouth to move quickly between listening and speaking. I used to practice dialogues from short videos. I repeated the conversation again and again. Soon, my mouth became faster and more confident. Real conversations teach your mouth something very special. They teach it to think and speak at the same time. At first, this feels difficult, but with practice, it becomes easier. One day, you will notice that you are answering questions without hesitation. Your mouth will respond naturally, and your sentences will become smoother. This is the power of conversation practice. So do not wait for perfect English. Start small conversations today. Speak with friends. Practice simple dialogues. Ask questions and share your ideas. Every conversation trains your mouth to speak more naturally. In the next chapter, we will talk about another important idea. We will learn how consistency and patience can turn small daily practice into powerful speaking ability. Chapter 6. The Power of Consistency and Patience. Many learners want to speak English quickly. They want to become fluent in a short time. But learning a language does not happen overnight. It is a journey that takes time. The good news is that you do not need to be perfect today. You only need to improve a little every day. Consistency means practicing regularly. It means doing something again and again without stopping. Even small practice becomes powerful when you do it every day. Think about planting a tree. You plant the seed today, but the tree does not grow in one day. It needs water, sunlight, and time. Speaking English is the same. Every day you practice, you are watering the seed of your speaking ability. Let me share something from my own experience. When I first started practicing English speaking, I did not see big results immediately. Some days I felt like my speaking was still slow, but I kept practicing every day. I spoke to myself. I repeated sentences. I listened and practiced conversations. After a few months, something surprising happened. My speaking started to feel easier. My mouth moved more naturally. Words came out faster than before. That was the power of consistency. Another important part of learning is patience. Patience means staying calm while you learn. It means understanding that improvement takes time. Sometimes learners become frustrated. They say, "I have been studying English for months, but I still cannot speak perfectly." But perfection is not the goal. Progress is the goal. Every new word you learn is progress. Every sentence you speak is progress. Every conversation you have is progress. When you focus on progress instead of perfection, learning becomes easier and more enjoyable. I remember days when I felt tired of practicing English. Sometimes I felt like my speaking was not improving. But instead of quitting, I decided to practice a little more. Even 5 minutes of speaking was enough to keep my habit alive. Those small moments of practice slowly built my confidence. Another helpful idea is creating a simple daily schedule. You do not need a complicated plan. Just choose a few small activities. For example, you can spend 5 minutes speaking out loud. Then you can spend 5 minutes listening to English. After that, you can repeat a few sentences. This small routine might only take 15 minutes, but if you do it every day, it becomes very powerful. I used to follow a simple routine like this. Some days I practiced for a short time. Other days I practiced longer. The important thing was that I did something every day. Another good idea is tracking your progress. Write down what you practice each day. You can keep a small notebook where you record your activities. For example, you might write, "Today I practiced speaking for 10 minutes." Or, "Today I learned 5 new words." When you look back at your notes, you will see how much work you have done. This can give you motivation to continue. I remember looking at my old notes after several months. I saw how many words I had learned and how many conversations I had practiced. It made me realize how far I had come. Another helpful tip is celebrating small victories. When you reach a small goal, celebrate it. Maybe you spoke English for 10 days in a row. Maybe you had your first conversation in English. These are important achievements. Celebrating these moments keeps you motivated. I used to reward myself when I reached a goal. Sometimes I watched my favorite movie or enjoyed a special treat. These small celebrations made learning more enjoyable. It is also important to remember that everyone learns at a different pace. Some people improve quickly, while others take more time. This is normal. Your journey is unique. Instead of comparing yourself to others, focus on your own improvement. Compare who you are today with who you were yesterday. If you can speak a little more than before, you are moving in the right direction. Another powerful idea is staying positive. Your attitude can affect your progress. If you believe that you can improve, you will keep practicing. But if you believe that you cannot learn, your motivation will disappear. Positive thinking helps you stay strong during difficult moments. Whenever I felt discouraged, I reminded myself why I started learning English. I wanted to communicate with people and understand the world better. This purpose helped me stay focused. Consistency and patience work together like two strong partners. Consistency keeps you practicing every day. Patience gives your skills time to grow. When you combine these two qualities, amazing progress becomes possible. One day you will look back and realize how much you have improved. Speaking English will feel easier. Your mouth will move naturally. You will remember the days when speaking felt difficult, and you will feel proud of how far you have come. So keep practicing every day. Be patient with yourself. Trust the process. Your speaking ability is growing step by step. In the next chapter, we will reach the final part of this journey. We will talk about how to continue improving and keep your English speaking skills strong for the future. Chapter 7. Keep growing and never stop speaking. All of these steps work together to train your mouth to speak English more naturally. Now we will talk about how to continue improving and keep your English speaking skills strong in the future. Learning English does not end after a few months of practice. Language is something you can continue improving for many years. The more you use it, the stronger your ability becomes. The most important thing is to keep speaking. Many learners improve their English for some time, but then they stop practicing. When they stop using the language, their speaking ability becomes weaker. Speaking English is like exercising your body. If you stop exercising, your muscles become weaker. But if you keep exercising regularly, your muscles stay strong. Your mouth works in the same way. The more you use it to speak English, the more natural it becomes. One good way to keep improving is to continue speaking every day. Even after you become more confident, daily speaking practice is still important. You can keep talking to yourself in English. You can describe your day, your plans, or your thoughts. These small habits keep your speaking ability active. Another powerful idea is learning new topics. At the beginning, you may speak about simple things like your daily routine or your hobbies. But as your English grows, you can talk about bigger topics. You can discuss books, movies, technology, travel, or world events. New topics help your brain learn new vocabulary and new expressions. They also challenge your mouth to speak in new ways. And I remember when I started talking about different topics in English. At first, it was difficult because I did not know many words. But each new topic helped me learn new vocabulary. My conversations became more interesting and more meaningful. Another helpful habit is continuing to listen to English regularly. Listening keeps your brain connected to the natural sound of the language. You can listen to podcasts, watch videos, or listen to conversations. When you hear English often, your pronunciation continues to improve. Listening also introduces you to new phrases and expressions that you can use in your own speaking. Reading is another great way to grow your English. When you read books, stories, or articles, you learn new words and ideas. Later, when you speak, These new words become part of your vocabulary. Writing can also help strengthen your speaking skills. When you write in English, you organize your thoughts and practice forming sentences. These sentences often appear again when you speak. For example, if you write about your day in a journal, you may later talk about the same experience in a conversation. Another powerful idea is teaching others what you have learned. When you explain something to someone else, you practice speaking clearly. Teaching forces your brain to organize ideas and express them in simple language. I once helped a friend who was also learning English. I shared the practice methods that helped me. While explaining these ideas, I realized that teaching was also improving my own speaking. Another important thing is staying curious. Curiosity keeps learning exciting. Always be interested in new words, new ideas, and new conversations. Ask questions when you hear something interesting. Curiosity turns learning into an adventure instead of a chore. You can also challenge yourself with small speaking goals. For example, you might decide to speak English for 20 minutes every day. You might challenge yourself to learn 10 new words each week or to watch an English video every day. These goals keep you motivated and focused. Another helpful idea is surrounding yourself with English. Try to bring English into your daily life as much as possible. You can change your phone language to English. You can listen to English music. You can follow English speakers online. The more English you see and hear, the more comfortable your mouth becomes with the language. It is also important to remember that mistakes will always be part of learning. Even advanced speakers make mistakes sometimes. Do not let mistakes stop you. Instead, see them as opportunities to learn. Every mistake teaches you something new. One day you will notice that speaking English feels natural. You will start conversations without fear. Your mouth will move easily, and your sentences will become smoother. People will understand you clearly, and you will enjoy speaking. When that day comes, remember the journey you took. Remember the small practices, the daily habits, and the patience you showed. Those small steps created your success. Learning English is not only about language, it is also about growth, confidence, and communication. It opens doors to new ideas, new friendships, and new opportunities. So keep speaking, keep learning, keep exploring the world of English. Your mouth is now stronger, your voice is clearer, and your confidence is growing. Thank you for being part of this journey. Keep practicing, keep improving, and most importantly, keep speaking English every day.